Hello friends, I am Shivaji Bhaskar, Faculty of Russian at the School of Foreign Languages, IGNOU. I welcome you all to this course, Basics of Russian Communication Skills Part 1. As you already know that we have learned about the Russian alphabet, vowels and consonants. We have also discussed about gender in Russian language in our previous modules. Now, since we have been discussing about these basic concepts of the Russian language, we will also be talking about various other new concepts, including the conjugation of the verbs. So let's go ahead and talk about certain other sections which we are going to cover. So now in this module, we will majorly cover about the Russian verbs and their endings. We will also see the conjugations with the help of various activities and examples. And further, you will also be learning about a few new Russian words and expressions. So let's go ahead and talk about these concepts. As you already know that in Russian language, verbs play a very significant role. It is important so that while expressing the right meaning and emotion, verbs can be conjugated as per the requirement. Verbs are action words since they are the things can do for us. For example, we have certain verbs like to study, to run, to walk, to love, to eat, etc. So there is a huge number of verbs which are being used in Russian language for expressions. The strict grammar rules are to be followed for conjugating the verbs, as we have already seen by the ending of the verbs. For example, like отдыхать, жить, повторять, etc. So you have to keep this in your mind while conjugating the verbs. As these rules are based on the ending of the verbs and the groups they belong to, it is important for the learners to note them down and remember by heart while knowing the exact rule how to conjugate them. As you will be able to understand the rules by paying attention to their endings. So now, since we have already talked about verbs and how they are being conjugated, we have also talked about nouns and adjectives and the agreement between the two. We have also seen how to make simple sentences and interrogative and affirmative sentences. If you remember, in the previous module, we have discussed about various things that with the help of particular text, you understand and it helps you to further initiate the dialogues, conversations, communications among your family and friends. So that is why we are going to use text as a methodological tool so that you understand the basics of Russian grammar and phonetics in an efficient manner. So here I am going to bring to you a new text. Please pay attention while I read it for you. Сегодня воскресенье. Сергей и Галина Николаевна отдыхают дома. Каждый день Галина Николаевна готовит завтрак. Но сегодня завтрак готовит Сергей. Галина Николаевна слушает радио. Ее муж профессор. Он смотрит телевизор. Вся семья очень любит слушать русские песни. Сергей студент. Его сестра Инна, она маленькая. Она любит играть в шахматы. Но сегодня она не играет. Она делает домашнее задание. If we go to the previous section, we will see that we are basically talking about a small family and their relations. We also be knowing about various Russian names of males and females. As since it helps us in formulation of the thought process, that is why the texts are important. Now let's try to understand some of the basic concepts with the help of this text. Сегодня воскресенье. As you already know, сегодня means today and воскресенье is Sunday. As we have in the previous module discussed about various days of the week. As понедельник, Monday, вторник for Tuesday, Srida for Wednesday, Четверг for Thursday, Пятница for Friday, Subota for Saturday, and Воскресенье, as you can see here, is for Sunday. So today is Sunday. Сегодня воскресенье. You can also replace воскресенье with any other day and make your own text. Sergey и Galina Nikolaevna отдыхают дома. So we have two names here, Sergey and Galina Nikolaevna. So Sergey and, because E is a conjunction, and Nikolaevna, Sergey and Galina Nikolaevna, so they are taking rest at home. Отдыхают. So it is from the verb отдыхать, being changed in the form of a plural они отдыхают. Где? Where? Дома, at home. So дом changes into дома. Alright. So Sergey and Galina Nikolaevna are taking rest at home. Then we have каждый день Galina Nikolaevna готовит завтрак. Каждый день, we already know, it means every day. Galina Nikolaevna is the name of the person, a lady, Galina Nikolaevna. Готовит is from готовить, to prepare. The verb being conjugated in the form of она готовит. Что она готовит? What does she do? What does she prepare? She prepares breakfast. So Galina Nikolaevna готовит завтрак. She prepares breakfast. Но сегодня завтрак готовит Сергей. So in Russian, when we want to express a meaning in a sentence like but, we use no. No in Russian. Но сегодня завтрак готовит Сергей. But today the breakfast is being prepared by Sergey. Sergey, because every day who prepares the breakfast normally? Galina Nikolaevna. But today who is preparing the breakfast? Sergey. Why? Because today is Sunday. So there has to be some meaning in the text. When you make your own text, please pay attention to this important aspect, that whenever a text is being written or prepared, you must keep in mind that it should make sense as well as continuity. And the relation between the character is another very important fact. So the next line is Galina Nikolaevna слушает радио. Galina Nikolaevna, what is she doing? She is listening. слушать. So it has been conjugated into Galina Nikolaevna она слушает. Что? What? She is listening to the radio. We already know this meaning. Radio means radio. Okay, so Galina Nikolaevna слушает радио. Galina Nikolaevna is listening to the radio. Then we have ее муж, professor. So ее is for whom? It's for Galina Nikolaevna. Her husband, ее муж. Suppose if we want to say his wife, then we will replace ее from его. Его жена in place of муж, which means husband. We have a word in Russian for wife, which means жена, его жена, and then you can add profession if she has one. But here we have ее муж professor. Her husband is a professor. Then the next line is он смотрит телевизор. What does he doing? He is watching. Он смотрит. Что? What? Телевизор, television. So you can also make your own sentences based on these conjugations of the verb. Она слушает радио. She is listening to the radio. Он смотрит телевизор. He is watching the television. The next line is вся семья очень любит слушать русские песни. Вся семья. What is семья? Семья is family in Russian. As we already know, we discussed in the previous modules. And why we have used вся? it is for the family. Вся семья, the entire family очень любит. Love, very much. Очень, very much. Очень любит. Любит, it's from the verb любить. So the entire family, семья, is a singular word, feminine gender word for family. So вся семья очень, and accordingly the verb любить has been changed, conjugated into любит. Вся семья очень любит что? Слушать русские песни. Listen to what? Listen to русские песни, the Russian songs. So the entire family loves to listen Russian songs. Alright? Okay, so now let's pay attention to this part of the text. Sergey student. Sergey is a student. Его сестра Inna. So Inna is also a popular name in Russia for females. Его сестра Inna. His sister is Inna. Она маленькая. She is young or small. Маленькая, however, we use for small, but the concept which we are going to use in the text that the sister of Sergey is young. Она любит играть в шахматы. Она любит, she loves to play. Играть, as we know, the verb to play. В шахматы. Shakmati is again a very popular sport. Game in Russia is chess. Shakmati is the word in Russian for chess. So what does she loves? She loves to play chess. Alright, so the next line is но сегодня она не играет. No, why do we use no? For using an expression but. She is not playing today. Сегодня она не играет. Today she is not playing. Why she is not playing? Because, let's see the next line. Она делает домашнее задание. What is домашнее задание? Means homework. Alright, so that is why she is not playing chess today. So you have to keep the entire text in such a fashion so that it must make a sense and it should be in continuity. Alright, and there is another important aspect that не. Whenever we use не, она не сделает домашнее задание, она не играет, it means it is used to indicate negation. In the negative answer to a question, there is a pause after the word нет. Okay, so I hope the text is clear to you. You can also make certain such texts by using these kind of words, verbs, expressions, and use it while communicating with your family and friends. It will enrich your language. Okay, now let's go ahead and pay attention to the conjugation of certain words which we have just used in the text. I am going to use two texts here. For first one, you have already seen the text about a family in which we are going to talk about certain verbs. So in this particular case, we have two verbs. The first one is любить and the second one is готовить. As we already know, the meaning of любить is to love, whereas the meaning of готовить is to prepare. So let's pay attention to the conjugation first, then we will talk about the meaning in certain sentences. Я люблю, ты любишь, он, она любит, мы любим, вы любите, они любят. Likewise, we have готовить. Я готовлю, ты готовишь, он, она готовит, мы готовим, вы готовите, and они готовят. Alright, so please pay attention to these particular sound and these particular style, conjugations and the pronunciation, because whenever you are using the conjugated form of a verb in a sentence, it should always be in a similar fashion. Alright, now let's go ahead and pay attention to certain other verbs. We have the verbs here, говорить and смотреть. Говорить, as we already know, means to speak, and смотреть means to watch. Please pay attention to the conjugated forms of these verbs while I conjugate them for you. Говорить. Я говорю, ты говоришь, он, она говорит, мы говорим, вы говорите, они говорят. Смотреть. Я смотрю, ты смотришь, он, она смотрит, мы смотрим, вы смотрите, они смотрят. Alright, so let's go back to the previous любить and готовить section. Here we have two verbs. These two verbs are oftenly used. They have been used in the text also. So любить means to love and готовить to prepare. For example, готовить we have used in the text. Галина Николаевна, она любит готовить завтрак. So here in the same sentence we have used both the verbs. One in a conjugated form, Galina Nikolaevna любит, conjugated as per the gender of the noun. Galina Nikolaevna, она, что она любит, она любит to prepare breakfast. Готовить, завтрак, завтрак. Okay, from the verb завтракать. But here завтрак is being used as a noun. Let's go to the next part. Here we have говорить and смотреть. Говорить is to speak. Он говорит, она говорит, he speaks, she speaks. Here you can also make your own sentences. And смотреть, for example, Сергей любит смотреть телевизор. He loves to watch television. But let's make another example, that Anton смотрит телевизор. Anton watches television. So you can also make your own sentences where you have the liberty to use either the same verb in a conjugated form, or you can also use two verbs, one in a conjugated form and the second one as it is. Alright, so I hope this concept is clear to you all, and I would like to recommend you all to note them down and use them in your own expressions. But please remember all the concepts which we just discussed. Alright, now let's go ahead. Here we have another set of verbs where we are going to conjugate them for you and use them in our sentences. Here we have хотеть and ходить. So хотеть, as you already know, that we have used in certain other expressions previously. For example, I want to have tea without milk. Alright, so I want. So I would conjugate it as я хочу chai with milk, с молоком, or without milk, без молока. So you can also make your own sentences, expressions with the help of the conjugated verb in that particular form, depending upon the pronoun. Now I am going to conjugate it. Я хочу, ты хочешь, он, она хочет, мы хотим, вы хотите, они хотят. And ходить, now we are going to talk about the verbs of motion as well in Russian. Very important aspect of the Russian grammar, because all kind of activities we do with the help of verbs of motions only, whether to go by foot or by train or by bus or we are flying. So all these concepts are basically covered by the verbs of motion. So I am going to repeat the verb ходить once again. Я хожу, ты ходишь, он, она ходит, мы ходим, вы ходите, and Ani Hajat. So you have also need to pay attention to this particular change in the verb conjugations. Alright, so here we having a text with us. As you know that we are using text as a methodological tool so that you understand the basics of Russian in an efficient manner. Please pay attention to the text. Сегодня выходной день. Сегодня все дома. Даже Сергей. Как вы знаете, он очень любит спорт, особенно футбол. Его любимая футбольная команда – это «Динамо». Когда «Динамо» играет, Сергей всегда на стадионе. Let's go to the next part of the text. Галина Николаевна смотрит телевизор. Сегодня она отдыхает, не готовит завтрак, не готовит обед, не готовит ужин. Завтрак, обед, ужин сегодня готовит ее муж. Он хороший повар. Когда выходной день, он всегда на кухне и делает интересные эксперименты. Маленькая Инна сегодня не отдыхает. Завтра у нее экзамен. Она занимается, повторяет текст, пишет трудные слова, делает упражнения. So here in this text we have seen that we are using a situation where we are talking about a family, its various members, and they are doing certain tasks. Let's go to the first page of the text and please pay attention while I'll elaborate the text and discuss it with you. Сегодня выходной день. As we already know, сегодня means today in Russian. So сегодня выходной день. Какой день? What day? It is a holiday. Выходной день in Russian means holiday. Today is a holiday. Now please pay attention to the next line. Сегодня все дома. When do we use все and when do we use все? We use все when we are talking about things, and when we use все when we are talking about people. So сегодня все дома. What does it mean? It means that everybody is at home. Alright? Даже Сергей. Even Сергей. Как вы знаете, as you know, он очень любит спорт. As you know that he loves sport very much, or he very much loves sport. Особенно football, especially football. So you can use this expression особенно to emphasize, especially. Alright, so in your own expressions, in your own sentences. Как вы знаете, он очень любит спорт, особенно football. As you know, he loves very much, or he very much loves sport, especially football. Его любимая футбольная команда – это Динамо. Его means his. It is for whom? For Sergey. His favorite, or he loves most. Now we are going to talk about the футбольная команда, which means football team. His favorite football team is Dinamo. Когда Dinamo играет, when the football team, which name is Dinamo, plays, когда Dinamo играет, Sergey всегда на стадионе. Sergey is always at the stadium. So in Russian, for stadium, we have a word stadion. And since, if you remember, we have discussed about certain cases in Russian, for example, like prepositional case or предложный падеж, where we use predlogs or prepositions like v and na, means in and at. In this case, we have used na, which means at. So the last sentence, когда Динамо играет, Сергей всегда на стадионе. When Dinamo plays, Sergey is always at the stadium. So for expressing always, you can also use this expression всегда in your own communication. Alright, now let's go ahead. Galina Nikolaevna смотрит телевизор. So the name of the person is Galina Nikolaevna. What she is doing? She is watching television. Смотрит, from the verb смотреть. Она смотрит телевизор. Сегодня она отдыхает. Сегодня means today. Она for Galina Nikolaevna. Сегодня, today she is taking rest. From the verb отдыхать. Now it is being conjugated with the form of она. Не готовит завтрак. Не. She is not preparing the breakfast. Не готовит обед. She is also not preparing lunch. Не готовит ужин. And not preparing dinner as well. Alright. So these are the three words. Завтрак, обед and ужин. We can use in our own expressions as well. Завтрак, обед, ужин. Breakfast, lunch and dinner. Сегодня готовит ее муж. Today her husband is preparing. Alright. So the breakfast, lunch and dinner is being prepared by her husband. Он хороший повар. He is a good cook. So this particular word повар you can also use in your own sentences. For example, if I want to say my brother is a chef or a cook, I can use мой брат повар. For example, these kind of expressions which we are using with the help of these kind of texts, you can also use in your own expressions. And since the word which we just learned, повар, you can also use in certain other situations. Okay, now pay attention to the next line. Когда выходной день. When do we say когда? It is for the expression when. Alright. So when there is a holiday, okay, when there is a holiday, он всегда на кухне. Он всегда на кухне. For whom we are using он всегда на кухне? For the husband of Galina Nikolaevna. На кухне и делает интересные эксперименты. He is always in the kitchen and he does interesting experiments. Alright, now let's go ahead. Маленькая Инна сегодня не отдыхает. So the young sister of Sergey, Inna, сегодня не отдыхает. She is not taking rest. Why? Because завтра у нее экзамен. Because she is having an examination tomorrow. Завтра, tomorrow, she has an examination. Examen. Она занимается, повторяет текст, пишет трудные слова, делает упражнения. She is studying, she is repeating the text, she is writing the difficult words and doing exercises. So this is a complete text which we have just learned about a family, different people and different tasks being done by them, and with the help of such text you can also use some of the words, some of the verbs, some of the expressions in the sense, so that you can also prepare your own text. Alright, so here we are going to talk about a few more new concepts with the help of such a methodological tool, which is text in this case, and shall prepare a list of words, verbs and expressions which we are going to use in the upcoming modules. I hope you all like this very much, and be prepared for the next module where we are going to discuss about the verbs of motion or glagoli wyrażenia. Thank you.